On today's episode of Cedar Springs TV Live, we edge close towards the upcoming exam schedule and we find out if students and teachers are ready for them.
Throughout the entire COVID stay-at-home order, a number of our fellow classmates have found themselves to be essential workers. We will talk with some of them and hear about their experience through this time.
We interview Mr. Stewart, who talks about how he feels about the online transition and how he's able to cope with his feelings with the situation.
As well as an interview from senior athlete Willie Zane, where he talks about his experience in the world of athletics during a global pandemic.
All this and more on Cedar Springs TV Live. Hello, I'm Michael Overway.
And I'm Hannah Anderson, and welcome to another edition of Cedar Springs TV.
I personally feel that going online can be difficult, but as long as we are patient and persevere, I think that's all that matters. How about you, Hannah?
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that online learning is more difficult than I had originally thought. As we approach final exams, I don't really know what to expect.
I definitely agree with that. We know that this is a concern for a lot of students and teachers. So we have Melissa Goslin, who takes an inside look at just what might be happening with those exams.
In these past 9 months of COVID-19, the virtual world has taken over students and teachers' lives by forcing them to learn and teach in a different way. The shift from teaching in person to online has affected the way teachers are able to give exams, causing them to rethink their curriculum. Teachers were asked if they feel like there should be exams this year.
I would like to see some form of exam, but it needs to be fair. So if curriculum is changed this semester, which in both my classes it has, then they need to be adapted. I would like to see a multiple choice section, and then for the English department, an SAT prototype section. That way students get practice at some multiple choice, not just comprehension, but ones that show inference and application. And then they also get to practice for the SAT, which is important, and it gives us data about our teaching.
Personally don't think we should have exams this year because it is harder for everyone to learn. It's harder for us to retain that information that we're being given, and I just don't think it would be an accurate representation of the students' education levels.
With the change of exams, teachers and students were asked how COVID-19 has affected exams and exam procedure.
COVID is definitely affecting exams this year, I would say, especially since we're not coming back now until a week after Christmas break. That throws things into a little bit of a...
COVID is affecting my study habits for exams because I'm not able to ask as many questions as I would in person due to being on Zoom.
I'd say I'd like to see exams. It's going to be hard if we are remote. If we're in person, no big deal. I think it's easy to monitor, easier to communicate what's going to be on it. If we're remote, it gives us more of a challenge. How do I know, my students are actually writing the exams or taking the multiple choice? There are ways to try to monitor that, but it's not as easy as it is in person.
Although this year has had its ups and downs, students and teachers are still hopeful that COVID cases will soon decrease and in-person schooling will eventually resume in the near future.
After hearing about other students and teachers' concerns with finals, that makes me a little less nervous. How about you, Michael?
For sure. After hearing about their concerns, it makes me feel a lot better knowing that students, but also teachers, are in our shoes as well.
100%. It's good to know that you're not alone. When we come back, we will take a look at the lives of students outside of school. Welcome back. Even with school not being in person, a lot of students are having to juggle both school and work during this pandemic. Blake Shearer will be walking us through the lives of a few working students.
Coronavirus has had a large impact on everybody, especially people with jobs. We interviewed some high school students to get their opinions on how their jobs outside of school have changed during the pandemic.
I work at CedarSpringsTV, where I push carts, I train all the cart pushers, and I do like maintenance jobs inside.
My job, I work at Meyer in Cedar Springs, and I push carts.
My job is at a hardware store downtown, and I'm the cashier and sales associate.
My job has changed during the pandemic, and in a couple ways, I'd say. We have to sanitize the carts every time we bring them in, to make sure they're clean for everybody to use. And then you just have to wear a mask inside, and that's about it, really.
In the beginning of the pandemic, what we had to do immediately is we had to begin to wipe down all the carts with a spray bottle and a little paper towel wipe. But the hardest part about it is that it makes your hands all dry and cracky, so you need to wear gloves while you do it.
With these being especially difficult times, we asked them how they managed to balance a life between work and school.
I make sure only to work a couple days a week. So as of right now, I'm working Saturdays, Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays.
Well, my classes are from 8 to 12, and then I work from 3:30 to 5:30 weekdays. So I just do homework from 12 to 3:30. I go to work, and if I have more homework, I come home at 5:30 and do more homework.
I just put my work around school, really, and then when I just want to hang out with people, I do it on my day off and after school.
Considering all that's changed as a result of the coronavirus, one might begin to wonder if it's worth it for a high school student to get a job at this point in time.
I'm just sitting at home. I'd be bored out of my mind if I didn't have to go to work or homework or anything. So I would, unless someone's pretty high risk in your immediate family.
During COVID-19, I highly recommend students to work. Working is really important for me personally because it's giving you a setup for the future. It's giving you a setup for real life. And if you can maintain a job, good grades during a pandemic and one of the weirdest school years that we've ever had, then I'd say you're pretty set for real life. It really could be worse.
For anyone in the workforce, whether you are a student or an adult, we wish that you continue to work safely during these crazy times.
I certainly agree the struggles Blake has mentioned, as I can certainly relate to them.
This year's provided many struggles for the student body of Cedar Springs, especially in the world of athletics.
We're going to hand it off to Eli Malone, who will be focusing on the accomplishments of fall sports this year.
Thank you, Michael. I'm your sports analyst, Eli Malone. Sports this year have been impacted in many ways. However, the sports seasons have not been lost. Here at Cedar Springs, we were able to complete all of our fall sports. Our football team made it to the second round of the playoffs, but unfortunately lost to a very strong Muskegon team. Our volleyball team got a first round bye this year, but fell to a very strong Rockford girls team. Our soccer team made it to the second round of the playoffs, but fell to Forest Hills Eastern. Our cross-country team managed to make it to regionals and fought hard in very hard circumstances. And our tennis team got fourth at conference. And don't count out winter sports, as even though we are online, tryouts have not occurred for boys basketball, wrestling, competitive cheer, and bowling. So when we go back, anyone can participate in those. One of our senior athletes here at CSHS decided to take on a new challenge for the senior year and decided to join the varsity football team for the first time. We'll send it over to Brennan Porter for an inside look at senior Willie Zane.
We have a senior at the school of Cedar Springs High School, William Zane, here to talk about his journey of his first and final years in the Cedar Springs football program. Willie has been a student athlete here at Cedar Springs High School ever since he started playing baseball as a freshman and the rest of his career here. Although he hasn't played any other sports, this year's changed as he joined Gus Kapolka's football team where they went 5-3.
The reason I decided to play football senior year was because I got really into lifting and cardio junior year, and I decided that football would be a good way to just keep me in shape, and I knew it would be a fun experience.
Willie played boundary corner while on the football team. Although he didn't get much playing time, he still enjoyed it. Now, Willie would talk about why he didn't play football before his last year of high school.
The reason I didn't play football until senior year is because I just wasn't physically healthy in any way. I was very, unconditioned, and I tried playing football freshman year actually. It just did not work out, and it was my goal to play senior year all along. I wanted to be able to get healthy enough to play and keep up with everyone, basically.
Willie lost over 60 pounds between his junior and his senior year. That is an incredible mountain change. Speaking of change, what types of things in football made a big difference for you that you can use in your future?
There's definitely a few things I learned from football that I'll use in my future. One being a hard work ethic. I didn't really realize until I started playing football how much work is put in every day at practice. And that just kind of showed me that in the future, if there's something I really want to accomplish, I need to work hard for it, and I need to do everything I can if I want to achieve that goal.
As you can see, you can definitely learn stuff from football that you can use in your future for your benefit. As you hear, hard work does pay off. Are there any regrets you have for not playing football in your younger years of high school?
I definitely don't regret not playing football in years prior just because I know I would have been a burden to my team. I didn't have any motivation to play. I didn't have the willpower to play. I wasn't physically fit. So, putting me out on the field just would have been harmful to my team, and it just wouldn't have been good for anyone, really.
Willie has changed in a dramatic way, and being on the field, everyone can definitely tell he's not a burden. But with playing just 1 year of football, why is that something you will always hold on to?
Although I only played high school football for 1 year, it's definitely something I'll hold on to throughout my life. It showed me that hard work is something that everyone has to do to make the team better. Even if you're not the best player, you still have to put what you can into the team to make you better as a whole. Same with the workforce. You may not be the top worker, but if you do your job, that's it. You'll be better as a whole.
Doing your 111, as Coach Kapolka would say, is something that is expected out of each player, and Willie does an amazing job at it. Holding on to a work ethic like that for the rest of your life will increase your chances of having a great one. Now, what would you say to someone that is thinking about or on the verge of joining football?
To anyone considering playing football, I highly recommend it because it's a great learning experience. Every player on your team becomes more like a brother to you. You'll always remember it throughout your life. I guarantee it. And it teaches you how to become a man. It teaches you how to be successful in the future. And really, it's just all around a great experience.
Willie makes some very good points to joining the football team just like he did. Turning friends into brothers is a great thing, and creating a work habit that is strong now will just get even stronger in the future. As you can tell, Willie has had a great first and final year of high school football. Willie has learned many things throughout the season, and he will keep using those things in his future, and he will never forget them. Football has set Willie up in life. He is now healthier than ever, he understands what hard work looks like, and he has brothers that will always have his back. Now, we're sending you back to you, Eli.
Thanks, Brendan. It was really interesting to see how a student takes a challenge head on and excels. Good luck to all winter sports. I hope we can see you guys on the courts and mats soon. We will now send it back to the break. We will send it back to Hannah and Michael after the break.
Parents, have your children been misbehaving this holiday season? Well, I have the product for you. Introducing Akbar and Kohl's Cold. Parents, when you get this product this holiday season, it's going to create an incentive for years to come for your children to behave. You can buy this product online for the low price of 1 cent per pound and only a fee of $15 of shipping and handling. Hackbart and Kohl's Kohl, the perfect gift for any naughty child that will give them quite the attitude adjustment. Don't miss out on a great opportunity to change your children's naughty behavior this year. I mean, you swing this thing hard enough, they're not going to be able to misbehave ever again.
Thank you, Eli. It's great to have a better insight about what we might do for winter sports, as well as our accomplishments from the fall.
Big congrats to our conference fall athletes, as well as the honorable mentions.
We're going to hand it off to Jade Youts, who has interviewed Mr. Stewart about his personal feelings towards remote learning.
With coronavirus cases on the rise all across the United States, many schools have made the switch to online learning. Today we hear from Mr. Stewart, a teacher from Cedar Springs, Michigan, about how this has affected his teaching and his life. Mr. Stewart, how do you think the switch to online learning has affected your teaching?
I guess, Jade, it's affected my teaching completely because normally I'm a low-tech teacher. I don't do much on the computer with my students. I just always prefer to teach with as little technology as possible so that we can maximize the time that we spend actually learning and minimize any time that we spend learning a new tool or waiting for technology to start working when it breaks down.
Okay. And being an AP teacher, how do you think the pandemic will affect AP scores this year?
I think AP scores will probably be affected. It'll depend on the class. It'll depend on the student. Many AP students are pretty self-motivated individuals. So with all the resources that are available online to learn about the different AP subjects and practice your skills, I think that this doesn't have to negatively affect AP scores.
That's great to hear. And how do you think students have been affected by this pandemic and the switch to going online?
I think that students have been affected in different ways from going online. You've got some students who are doing better with online learning than regular learning. And that's interesting to me, but that's a pretty small group. Maybe like 10 to 15% of students I'm noticing are flourishing in a way that they weren't during in-person learning.
What concerns do you have for your students other than on an academic level?
I worry about students kind of on a mental health level, emotional health. And I just always encourage my students to try different things to connect with other people, to take care of themselves, because you really can't learn. You can't learn at your best when you got parts of your life out of whack.
How are you feeling personally during these times?
Me personally, during these times, I'm very fortunate. I haven't had any family members get seriously ill from COVID. People who I love outside of my family have gotten ill from COVID in a serious way. So, that leads me to pray.
What do you think is the biggest lesson to learn from this?
I think the most important lesson to learn during this time is that even when things are really difficult, really different, we have so much to be thankful for. There's still a million different things that I can focus on that are good. And I think that's a big lesson for me from the pandemic.
After having Stu as a teacher last year, he really set up my outlook and study methods for future AP classes, as well as at the same time keeping class fun.
He's truly a hard-working teacher, and I definitely agree he's able to persevere during this time.
We hope you enjoy your winter break.
Thanks for joining us on CedarSpringsTV. I'm Michael Overway.
And I'm Hannah Anderson. It's a great day to be red hot.